I think they're turning in their bid for the
Pre-bid
Pre-bid.
walkthrough for the courthouse remediation work.
Well,
Entourage.
at least there were some that showed up.
Yeah, there's.
Why do them? Mr. LaBiche is out there.
So Roxanne was telling me about that, like, a girl that certificates with me. That call last night.
Is that
Ambrose
the,
or-
yes. She called this morning and I told her to get an attorney in the district court. It's a land.
I think it's large now, we'll just lay down.
Yeah. Right.
That's why I didn't eat anything fried. I felt like it made me
I said,
sleepy.
you need an attorney. Well, you need to move to district.
They really do have good food
Working
there.
on these.
You know, there's a lot of places you can go and they'll have something that's really good. And most of their food is pretty decent.
Last payment.
Some places will have something that they specialize in that's real good, and the rest of it will be crap.
That's why they need a district judge.
Yeah, that's why I put a note in there. Hey, I don't know if we had jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But another thing was, if it wasn't a sheriff.
Sheriff.
Then he's supposed to have been taken to the registry court.
Hello?
He had all of the paper that Judge Moore did.
I did not have the stimmer.
Required.
It required, he had it marked out, and he just said, not required, her to report. There was. So I thought that made it correct.
Yeah.
It had that, because he couldn't remember.
Are you Cheryl?
Yeah.
Except you don't hear me coffee, but I don't have toast.
Telling John that.
Yeah.
He's too, somebody's sister, why you just, now we all have to fill it in.
But it had to
I
be.
got two phone calls yesterday asking me to
So
do
if
coffee
our
during the break.
that woman was supposedly solid.
And then after the storm come through,
I know.
He didn't
at
have.
our house, everybody comes, somebody's
Yeah.
stuffing on one side, and then this one's sneezing, and that one says it's
It
running.
has,
Hey, Cheryl.
it has been. Changing my mask.
I think we have everybody on.
Hey, Steve. Hey.
Well, she doesn't go by state when we pick them up. Step on.
Go on.
This conference will now be recorded.
Step on. Kind of like that cat I named Hans. That ran over.
I always miss you.
That was it. It was good. She found that double decker fudge round and she sent me a picture.
Okay, it's 1:30. So shall we go ahead and call us back into
Make
session?
a motion that we,
Thanks so much. Just for the record.
make a motion, we
Come back out of recess.
come out of recess.
Okay.
You know, budget workshop.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye? Okay. That's it. That's unanimous. Well, this morning was exciting. Rather invigorating.
Did we lose Martin?
I don't know, is Martin with us?
He's with us, he has his self-contained at the moment,
Okay.
Okay.
so
I just. they don't-
Martin, unmute yourself.
I think he's there.
Judge, hey. Okay, where would you like to pick up and start from?
Well, I see we got Cheryl here, so I was wondering if we might need to check back on some of that to make sure that we're not cutting anything that Cheryl feels like she might need. The only thing we did on hers was the phones, right, or was there anything else?
We did the-
Also,
The uniforms too.
What page are you on?
4.
Okay, 424.
We were talking about the jury account too, Mike.
Yeah.
And I was reviewing with her, we've kept the 3,500 for transcript. She said if the court was busy, then it would definitely be needed. We talked about the $10,000 versus 14 on the psychiatric. She did indicate that there was certainly some elevated type of clientele that probably would be expensing that out. that we up the court-appointed attorneys up to 150, and then the CPS left those at 85, and then dropped the court reporter down to 6,000 from the 25, given the fact that 2019 only had 5,800.
Okay, look like the court reporter.
Huh?
Dropped it to what?
6,000,
The one that's 25,000?
the one that's 25,000. See, the most expense that you've had back in 2019 was 5,800. You had 6,300 in 2018.
And I still say that if we were having jury, if we didn't have COVID,
We'd be using probably.
it would, I mean, it could possibly be, it could be a little more than 6,000.
A little more than that, what?
I mean, we used 6,000 in 2019,
Right,
but
no,
we're.
18.
2018.
They're both about 6,000.
Well, yeah,
That's true, 5,900, okay.
but I mean, I feel like we were
Yeah, the more,
having more, we would have had more jury trials this year, we were slow.
that was from 3 trials, over 6,000 something.
Yeah, there were about 3. Well, no, 2020, we had about 3 right here.
Okay, 6,100.
I don't know how many we had in 2019.
25,000 is
I mean, that's
significant
a
amount.
lot, but
How much would you think that you would want to reserve for it? Is that a good
With
question?
10 covered,
I would say I would want that much, yeah.
You know, Mike, we may just make it 12, because
yeah.
would you think that 12 would definitely cover it?
Yeah, 'cause I really think if we didn't have all this corona going on, we'd have
A lot more.
we'd be doing well.
Okay,
Like, we're just steadily building up
okay.
year after year what we're doing, so.
So 12,000 versus 25. Good. Okay. What else, Mike?
Was there was another one, I think the only other one was the telephone.
It was uniforms.
Oh, the uniform.
Well, but then I was wondering, to move the uniform money down to that food and lodging. Because we used half of that this year, and there again, we have jury trials and Judge Gibbs, the jurors. $1,000 is not a whole lot. We can move that there or something.
What was that in, Cheryl?
It's the food and lodging for jurors, it's right below the court report.
Oh, okay.
So could we like move uniforms down there or something? Add to it?
Add to it, yeah, 'cause it was.
Because look, and this was, look, and we had maybe 2 or 3 this year with her, and we spent this much money. We spent that. She is always gonna feed the jurors when she does her jury trial.
So what would you,
That's 1250 down to food and lodging for jurors, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
1250 for the uniforms,
Yes.
so that would put it at 2,250?
250 or no, yeah, I guess we could.
Or at least 2,000, I mean.
I mean, if we get in a bind, we always come back.
But I mean, it's gonna pick up once the OCA. Yeah.
And this, arrested district judge is in there. Old grand jury. We were 7320 and 29. 5750 budgeted. Just wondering if we have enough in that. Could we move the 2,200 from the telephone line item that we were going to cut down to that?
Just make it 8 total?
They're good. You're not gonna be $50
Yeah.
short of 8, so might as well.
Yeah,
There are times when Lucas goes calling it for grand jury or
Right.
until everything's starting to pick up at the books, before COVID happens, so.
What next, man?
Thank you.
What do we want to work on next?
Well, do we go on the district judges or we're changing anything on those?
On my budget,
Well, is that, I guess, judicial district?
Before we go there,
5.
can it go back to the JPs, since Jackie's in here, y'all want to ask her about the telephone? The JPs, on page 5.
Yeah, we were all the way on page,
so what was the question?
if you
Well-
could help us out, decide what the telephone was for all of them.
Okay, well, JP's have a technology fund that's broke because they spent it. And not getting as many fees in to replenish it. A lot of them have those MiFi's, and that's, I guess you could change telephone, to like, what did you call that, Leanne? Communications or whatever, because that's what it's set aside for. If they want a MiFi, or they can connect to the internet, telework. I know something. But that's what that's there for. And not all of them necessarily utilize it, but it's there for them if they need it.
Precinct 1, you can use any of it. Precinct 2.
Well, and I asked Trish about that, and she said because I guess Judge Moore has phones at his home and his home office, and then maybe Ms. Milton has phones at his home office. Do they send in a different bill? Is that, or is the, because I guess the phone wouldn't be the county's bill. She felt like that was like whoever used it, she did that.
No, he has a MiFi that he uses in his office. And that's what it was there for. Originally, yeah, it was telephone where we divided everybody's office bill up to what, now some of them, we end up having a long distance charge on some of them on occasion, depending on where they have to call. And that's what it's there for. Now, if they use it or not, that's up to them. And if you wanted to move that line item out and create a telecommunications or whatever you want, or add it to data processing telecommunications, you can do that. If you don't want it in their personal budget.
Yeah, we have that data processing, is that what we could take all that out there?
But data processing is gonna need some more money to be able to do that, because at first, nobody wanted them until we had one of those storms. And then Donnie's had, and then when we had COVID, and she had one that was quarantined, and you work from home, you have to have internet to run the software.
I guess they budget kind of like ours, they put what they want to, where they want to. All of the telephones are different.
Yeah,
But they don't hardly ever use any of it.
Well, Christmas too.
2 and 4.
I'm not sure, y'all got any suggestions, Steve? You've been there and done it.
No. No, I don't know.
Is there any harm in leaving it where it is?
I think we just leave it alone. It's their budget, you know, and
Yeah.
cutting thing, we're gonna be cutting their budget, so. If they don't want to do telephone, if we want to do away with that, then they need to put it somewhere else in their budget. I'd say we just leave it like it is.
Yeah, just leave it.
So,
Is that also for the 88th Judicial District telephone?
Yeah. But, they just use. Anyway, out of the telephone.
What is court supplements and expense in the PDF? Does anybody know?
Not sure, I would guess that it's maybe extra expenses.
ain't
Some kind of
touched
court
that
process.
20,000 in 3 years.
well, some of that's court reporter expense, because we don't pay them out of payroll anymore. And if they do, they get paid mileage at the end of each year. If they have to do any extra work, that's where some of that comes into, if the judge wants them to do something. That's what it's there for, it's the incidentals. But Hardin County and Jasper County bill us for Belinda's court reporter, and then Hardin County bills us for Judge Stover's court.
Does it come out of that line?
I'm looking down here and that's more than budget, 2018, under 2019.
It also covers if the court reporter can't be there and they have to get a substitute court reporter. So that's what it's budgeted for.
I need to make some corrections there. So judges can-
That's already overshared, let's move on.
Are y'all ready? or-
We're ready.
Look, the court reported the $12,000. I misread that. It says CPS court reporter. 6,000 was good for that. I was thinking Shelley and Debbie are district court reporters. So it's the one that was 25,000.
Okay.
You did it six. We don't need 12 for that.
Okay.
And I realized it when I got back up there that it says CPS on there, and I just didn't see it well enough.
Good, thank you.
CPS. So what
So, 6,000 for CPS court reporter is good. I just had it, I was missing the CPS part, and I was thinking about our actual district court reporters when I said that, because.
Thank you for coming back.
Okay, and that's it. So,
If you find another 19,000, come back.
to do that. Anyway, sorry about that.
Thank you.
Right.
Where we at, county treasurer, is that where we're at? We get food down to there,
Auditor.
On my budget,
we can't do anything with that.
well, but I can. Of course, it'll be approved tomorrow, but The uniforms, I'm gonna lower to 250. And then you can take the 3,000 from telephone out, and we can put that in data processing. So those are the two that I can adjust till after my meeting tomorrow with the judges.
Judge had also indicated that you were gonna request a pay increase for your 3 full-time positions and gonna request it out of,
Move the money out of training and education at the salary.
okay. Is anyone else getting any pay increases that you know of?
Sue and Mary.
Sue and Mary? Okay. Is that why we're doing this?
No, we're doing it because if you can pay part-time people $20 an hour and my people have more responsibility, then yeah, I think they deserve more pay.
Wow, we hit a nerve there, didn't we? Well, let's talk about that. First couple of years I was in office, I didn't know really what all I was responsible for. Learned it over a while. First year I was in office, about this time of the year, a little earlier, I was at a conference and not a lot of my counterparts were there. So I started asking around, said they're working on a budget. So I got back and I asked Joyce, and she said, well, that's been delegated to me, it's too political by my predecessor. And I rocked along with that for a while. So over time, what I've learned is my responsibilities consist 40% of judicial. And 60% obviously would be the difference of the administrative. During the learning process, it became quite evident over a while that probate judge was the most highest priority in my judicial responsibilities. And so I have to send in an affidavit every year or two stating that at least 40% of everything I do for the county is judicial. We collect a fee through the courts. It goes to the comptroller's office. The legislature redistributes that money in a supplement, which is why you see that money coming in. We do probably about 12 probate cases per month, average. In those probates, we have learned a tremendous amount. First of all, that we needed to put them on record because we found some of the attorneys are submitting information that isn't necessarily accurate based upon the application that they submit. And we caught that several times. Then we began to vet out the documents and find out that there's deficiencies. And so the seriousness of this falls upon me. The consequence falls upon the citizens of the county. If something goes through and it's not caught, it shouldn't be put upon Donese. She's just responsible for seeing that they're filed. But to dig into them and read through them and vet out everything to ensure that everything is exactly correct, that falls upon my responsibility as I understand it. So we began to get a little deeper into this, and now we catch a variety of things that come through the probate cases that we communicate back to the attorneys. And it ensures that a standard of excellence is experienced by the community, that their probate is in fact proved and it's expedited. And so I'm not willing to expose myself to the responsibilities in this particular category right here without having an appropriate amount of vetting out of those files. You'll see in the proposal that I broke it out this year, And I earmarked $20,000 for each of those positions there. Jill is part-time, and I'll speak specifically about my staff. Jill vets those files out. She catches a lot of stuff, and she communicates it. And Donise can probably attest to the fact that what she's seen transition over the period of time, we're delivering a standard of excellence in the probate court that I'm comfortable with. My first month in office, I visited a county clerk who made the statement to me, well, I guess you know, the county judges that just served jail time have been probate judges. And I said, no, I didn't know that. Got home and I told Lisa, I think I made a huge mistake. So obviously, having a support staff person to fulfill the responsibilities in this county to its citizens is incumbent upon only me as the probate judge. If it's contested, obviously it goes upstairs. So we've worked to try to get this position to where it has a standard of excellence that meets an expectation to serve the citizens. In the administrative portion, over time, and I've shared this with y'all before, it's very specific. It says the county judge serves as the budget officer. Does anybody know what that means? I've had to learn, and it's taken a while. And it has some very descriptive information about what I'm supposed to do. I made an announcement last budget cycle that I was going to attempt to fulfill that responsibility as best as I understood it. So in the administrative side of my duty, budget officer is a part of what we do. Now, it's never really been expressed, in my belief, in this county to the extent of what I've learned that it has to be. What all does that mean? Well, as a member of the governing body, I'm the officer that takes the budget that we create, that we tax and fund, and then distribute. I've been in a learning curve on this. Since January, I've attempted, and I thought I would be a whole lot better prepared by the time that I got to budget this year with y'all. What I found is that I had to do the best we could because of all the interruptions that COVID had proposed. So this is an area that I'm going to have to fulfill, and I'm going to need a support staff person that can give the attention on questions so that when I'm fulfilling my responsibility in this process to y'all, I can articulate all of the answers of understanding on every one of these departments and these line items. And obviously I'm deficient in that area, and you've noticed that. So what I would tell you is, in an attempt to try to fulfill that responsibility, I can't commit to the timeframes to crunch stuff out. We've been doing that, and I've fortunately had this support of Kay to assist me in some of these things, because I get so many distractions during the course of the day. I know how to ask the questions, but to crunch the numbers and so forth, it takes time, and to get the understanding, because I am a part of the team of 5 that has the responsibility to tax the people. Jackie's position is finance officer. She's the gatekeeper. She sits there and watches to make sure that everything that we're doing, based upon the budget that we're funding, meets the criteria of law. I can't tell you that I can participate in the same level of conversation as some of my counterparts who have the command of the budget that they're responsible for actually creating and funding and delivering. It created some problems whenever I asked to be able to log on to Tyler Technology to be able to just see the information. It created some heartburn, and I got it. But yet, we're creating this. And if I'm the officer among the 5 of us that's charged with this responsibility, then I got a duty to you guys.
What did the rest of that statute say, though, Judge? It says that you would do the budget with the help of the auditor or the treasurer. It's, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it said.
County clerk, I mean, that
County
is,
clerk.
yeah, we don't have to.
Let me read it, Mike.
I won't read the whole thing.
Okay, I'll read the whole thing.
All right.
Budget preparation for counties with population of 225,000 or less. Subchapter applicable to counties with population of 225,000 or less, exception. This chapter applies only to a county that has a population of 25,000 or less and that does not operate under subchapter C. And then it references the acts, the amendments of the legislature, all the way up to and current August 28, 1989. Section 111.002, county judge is budget officer. The county judge serves as the budget officer for the commissioners court of the county. Acts of the legislature. Section 111.003, annual budget requirement. During the 7th or 10th month of the fiscal year, as determined by the commissioners court, the judge, assisted by the county auditor or county clerk, shall prepare a budget to cover all proposed expenditures of county government for the succeeding fiscal year. Sub B, a proposed budget that will require raising more revenue from property taxes than the previous year must contain a cover page with the following statement in 18-point or larger type. This budget will raise more total property tax than last year's budget by insert total amount of the dollar increase in percentage. And of that amount, and it says insert this portion is, tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll. And then it references the acts of the legislature. Section 111.004, itemized budget. Contents. The county judge shall itemize the budget to allow as clear a comparison as practical between expenditures included in the proposed budget and actual expenditures for the same or similar purposes that were made for the preceding fiscal year. The budget must show as definitely as possible each of the projects for which an appropriation is established in the budget, an estimated amount of money carried in the budget for each project. B, the budget must contain a complete financial statement of the county that shows 1, the outstanding obligations of the county, 2, the cash on hand to the credit of each fund of the county government, 3, the funds received from all sources during the preceding fiscal year, 4, the funds available from all sources during the ensuing fiscal year, 5, estimated revenues available to cover the proposed budget, and 6, estimated tax rate required to cover the proposed budget. In preparation of the budget, the county judge shall estimate the revenue to be derived from taxes to be levied and collected in the succeeding fiscal year, and shall include that revenue in the estimate of funds available to cover the proposed budget. Then it references the acts of the legislature. Section 111.005, information furnished by county officers. A, in preparing the budget, the county judge may require any county officer to furnish existing information necessary for the judge to properly prepare the budget. B, if a county officer fails to provide the information as required by county judge, the county judge may request the commissioners court to issue an order. 1, directing the county officer to produce the required information, and 2, prescribing the form in which the county officer must produce the information. Then it references the acts of the legislature. Then it goes to section 111.006, proposed budget, filed with county clerk, public inspection. When the county judge has completed the preparation of the budget, the judge shall file a copy of the proposed budget with the county clerk. Exhibit A. The copy of the proposed budget shall be available for inspection by any person. If the county maintains an internet website, the county clerk shall take action to ensure that the proposed budget is posted on the website. In the acts of the legislature, section 111.007, public hearing on proposed budget. The Commissioners Court shall hold a public hearing on the proposed budget. Any person may attend and may participate in the hearing. B, the Commissioners Court shall set the hearing for a date after the 15th of the month next, following the month in which the budget was prepared in accordance with section 111.003 Local Government Code, but before the date on which taxes are levied by the court. C, the Commissioners Court shall give public notice that it will consider the proposed budget on the date of the hearing. The notice must state the date, time, and location of the hearing. The notice must include in type of a size at least equal to the type used for other items in the notice. Any statement required by the included in the proposed budget under section 111.003, then it references the acts of the legislature. Special notice 111.0075. Special notice by publication for budget hearing. The Commissioners Court shall publish notice before a public hearing relating to a budget in at least one newspaper of general circulation in the county. Notice published, and it goes on, then a notice under this section. I want to call your attention to this, which I've read several times for your hearing previously. It gets down to 111.008B. The Commissioners Court may make any change in the proposed budget that it considers warranted by law and required by the interest of the taxpayers. It comes down and says an adoption budget must contain a cover letter that includes, and then it goes into that. And I can go on and on. My point is, this year, I've attempted to fulfill the responsibilities as best I've understood under what this is calling for me to do as a part of our governance body. Kay has worked with me so we could follow this with all the myriad of interruptions that have been going on. We've looked at calendars. We've drawn out stuff to make sure that we followed everything. We were in compliance with everything. We asked to meet with Lynette not long ago. In meeting with Lynette, I wasn't able to get to the meeting, but fortunately, Kay and she met, and she's not in here. But they got the information so that I could fulfill my responsibility to y'all to ensure that we were following every date, every time, and I don't think I brought it back in here, every responsibility that's required of us in order to meet that. As I began to prepare the budget for this year, I could go on with additional administrative and additional judicial responsibilities. But that's what I understand is my duty in this position that's been entrusted to me by the public, that they're expecting me to fulfill. I canceled probate a couple of months ago. It was a week that was particularly challenging. It created a backlog. We had to catch up. It put a workload on Jill. Now, you may ask me, what is it that you're doing down there? Doesn't make sense. You're paying your people $20 an hour? That's ridiculous. Nobody deserves $20 an hour.
Well, Judge, to interrupt you there, we agreed in the budget workshop a few years ago that we wouldn't pay our part-time people over $16 an hour because that puts them up making what our full-time people are making. And we didn't feel it was fair to our full-time people for somebody working part-time to make the same amount of money in a shorter period of time than what they were making. Now, we never did vote on it in court, I don't guess, because it's not in the records as that, but we did talk about it in the budget workshop and agreed that $16 an hour was about the cap for part-time employees.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that was.
I respect that, Mike. I also respect the fact that I was budgeted for 2 full-time positions. One position is at $30,600. Okay? $30,600 for that one position has a dollar value to it. And I would propose to you, if we can agree, there's 52 weeks in a year. Everybody agree to that? There's 5 days in a week. Because the federal government says that's the time frame. That's 260 days that we potentially have to work. We take 10 federal holidays and 4 local option days. So you gotta take that off. So that's 14 days. That makes it 246 days. Of the 246 days that were actually open, a full-time employee gets 2 weeks of vacation, 2 weeks of sick, and 3 bereavement days. That's a total of 23 days. If you take 23 days off of this, that's 223 days that employee would actually be expected to be on the job. Does anybody disagree with any of this? No? We're okay? So there's 223 days that employee who's full-time is expected to be here on the job. $30,600 is the annual salary. 223 days is what they're expected to be here. Of the 223 days, our office hours are from 8 to 12 and 1 to 4:30. That's 7.5 hours. Law says they get a 15-minute morning break and a 15-minute afternoon break. And we take them. We literally take them. So that's 7 hours a day times 223. That's 1,561 hours in a year. If you take the 1,561 divided by the $30,600, divided by that, I've been doing some homework, mostly on the weekend. That's $19.60 an hour. Okay? That's just salary. Does anybody disagree with me? I know you're probably not doing the math. $9,050 for insurance is $5.80 an hour. That's $25.40 per hour for a full-time employee with the benefits. In an attempt to try to be a good steward and still fulfill the responsibilities that I've been trusted with, I want to try to be a good money manager. So I calculated $30,000 by just rounding it off, not the full $30,600. In the $30,000, I said, okay, we have to offer health insurance if we average 30 hours per week. 30 hours per week times 52 weeks is 1,560 hours. You may have remembered it was 1,561 that we're actually working. So we're working in a full-time position 1 hour more than the law requires us in the course of a year. So I took that and I divided up the responsibilities. Judicial, which was probate, and Commissioner's Court Coordinator. And I assigned that to a person who retired probably at 2 to 3 times what that figure right there is. Skill set, capability, didn't have to have the benefits. So I said, let's say that person is going to be off 2 weeks a year. So that would be a total of 50 weeks per year, divided by the 30,000, which is what you budgeted for me to. That comes up to $1,500 or $20 per hour. Now, 20 versus 25/40 for 61 hours difference per year is 16 minutes per day. Am I being a good steward? Am I respecting the skill set? Am I providing the foundation of what needs to be? Seems like a pretty good bargain for the cost and the savings to us as a court. And when I started looking at that, I thought, okay, I've got responsibilities to fulfill. How can I do that? This stuff was new. I never looked at it this way before, especially 1,561 total hours per year that are full-time employees. It's even better if they've been here for 5 years, they get an additional 5 days or 35 productive hours off of that. The price goes up per hour because of the additional week of time. I had to make this argument to myself. We take off 7% of this $20. It's mandated to. Then we match it with 14. The motivation to be able to have this position with the 7% reduction is hopefully getting a part-time person that doesn't have to have the benefits, but enjoys the flexibility of being able to come and go as long as they get the work done. COVID, this lady right over here, she brings a skill set that supported the responsibilities as emergency management director that's under the administrative category in a time that the 5 of us were just cranking out as much stuff as we possibly could to fulfill the responsibility to the county that just the title and the duty of the director portion of it is. I didn't enjoy it. There was not 1 minute, Sheriff, that was pleasant. She forfeited her family, stayed up here by herself. She didn't have to. She was part-time. Tell me, is this a bad thing in light of what we have to raise taxes for?
According to all the other employees that don't see that, it is. I mean, I know it's great, I'm glad you got the help you got, but everybody keeps finding part-time people that's capable of doing it.
I'm fortunate, I'll tell you this. This lady doesn't have to be here.
I'm not putting anything against Kay. She goes right.
Jill doesn't have to be here. And I acknowledge that. And Jill tried to retire in March. And then she decided, well, I only have 3 more years. There's been 15% that's been put aside. That's kind of motivating. I think maybe I can hang in there. I'll try. But Judge, I'm going to tell you, the day that I've become vested, I'm gone the next day. You won't see me. Mike, I'm just trying to fulfill my responsibilities in as good of a stewardship as I know how to do it. And the problem is, I see your 20 and I'm mad because mine are not getting 20, as opposed to looking at the productivity of the person. That's where I've tried to be a good steward and fulfill the tasks and responsibilities. That's why I organize this. I did something that I've never done before. Literally created it out of the office to try to produce and fulfill as best I understood. And I feel like that I'm not wanted in to do that. Don't do your job, Judge.
Well, no, I feel like that none of this has been shared with any other members of the court. I mean, if you're the chief budget officer, then you gotta have somebody under you if you're gonna be a chief. And, you know, I mean, I would think that other people would know about what's going on. I mean, just like the $20,000, I don't think we were gonna know about that. I mean, I think that was gonna be just pushed on through and that deal was gonna be done.
It's right here, Mike.
I know. So, we hadn't discussed it.
But, and y'all did a great job on doing the budget.
Are we
Did a
not?
great job on doing the budget. And, but you also were in the middle of a pandemic and did a great job on that. So, and that's not even y'all's job, the administrative assistants of the county judges, not emergency management. We have a whole department for that. So they were doing emergency management on the pandemic, also doing the budget, and did great and fine on it. So
Thank you.
they don't have the emergency management side to deal with, and they, for sure they can do the budget without hiring someone else to do it.
What I look at.
And you also have the auditor to assist you and the county clerk.
And I availed myself of them. When I got access to Tyler Technology, it made the total difference. We could not have to worry about interrupting by going down and saying, hey, look at this sheet right here. Can you tell me what this means? We were able to access that, but it created a burden and a problem because I'm a part of you guys that created this budget, and I can't even look at it, what it is online. Something's wrong with that equation. Sure, all of us should be able to look at that. But especially as your budget officer, if you're looking to me to give some time and attention to this, that we have the responsibility of answering for and trying to determine, then, all I can say is I've attempted to be as good of a steward with this responsibility and fulfill it as best I understand it. As I understand more, I can be more effective. It's just like the judicial portion of it. First trial I presided over, I didn't have a clue. We had to walk our way through this, the responsibility. And now I can handle it. I can handle the criminal docket every month. But I can't do it without the appropriate amount of help and support that's necessary. It's just like Ken. I can't do the emergency management responsibilities. That's why they allow for a coordinator to be appointed in order to deliver the task. And I'm telling you, we are extremely fortunate to have Ken. I just don't know. I've shared this with y'all before. I've been through this with y'all over the last 12, 13 and a half years in 5 disasters. We are as good of a position as we've ever been as a county. And I'm proud to tell you guys that, because Martin can tell you in 2008, I was a calf staring at a new gate, had no clue. And they circled the wagons around me and said, Judge, we're right here for you, right here. We're going to walk through this with you. And we did, we got through. I don't know how to tell you any differently than if I don't have to have any more full-time people than I absolutely have to, I'm not going to, because of the expense of the benefit cost. There's a total of 15 people that I sign off on their paychecks. 1 full-time and 2 part-time inside my office. You got 3 full-time people in maintenance department, 2 part-time people. In veteran services, there's 2 part-time positions over there. Ken is just at a flat stipend amount. DPS, full-time position with benefits. AgriLife, full-time position with benefits. If I look at this chart, 15 total people, 6 full-time, 7 part-time, and 2 on supplements or stipends. That does include AgriLife as well. Where am I messing up, guys?
Well,
What am I doing wrong?
because we have people in this county that need full-time jobs and need insurance and need retirement. If you, I mean, we could quit hiring any full-time people and just start hiring part-time people and do away with all that extra money, I guess. We can cut our budget way down, but are we gonna be able to get good people that wanna come to a job and work part-time and no insurance and no retirement? I mean, I don't, that's my biggest thing. I want to see young people stay here in this county and work. And if they don't have jobs, because we always have is part-time jobs open for them, they're not gonna stay here. They're gonna have to go somewhere else. People with kids that need insurance and everything else. I mean, that's one of my biggest deals. If we had full-time positions for it, then I think they need to be manned with full-time people. Sure, it's costing us more money, but, I mean, that's part of the benefit of being able to attract people. I wouldn't have come to work for the county if I wasn't getting retirement and insurance and just work 4 to 10. That was all part of the package deal to make me come do it. I was making way more money logging, but it wasn't easy work. But, I just don't like the idea of filling positions with retired people that already have a retirement income coming in. And then you're giving them a part-time job that's taking a job somebody else in the county can have. That's always been one of my big deals.
Mike, I'm all for giving good candidates a full-time position with benefits in the hopes that they are motivated to appreciate the benefits. When you look at the total impact of the benefits that we offer, 14 paid holidays, 23 additional days, a person can work for the county and have 7 weeks and 3 days if they take all of their benefits. It's 8 weeks and 3 days. That's 2 months that we are paying people to not work. That's a heck of a good deal.
Yeah.
The truth is, I've just gotten lucky.
But they're only making $15 an hour, so $16 an hour. I mean, I've got maintainers, and operators that could go down there and go to work right now, making $25, $28, $30 an hour. But they gotta drive the ball 100, somewhere else to go do it. They can't do it here. But those benefits make the difference of it. They stay home, be here, and not have to drive so far like your dad did. I mean, that's one of my things.
Well,
Mike,
Mike,
can I
I don't
say
disagree with that. And if I lose Jill, I know I got at least the position funded to where I can offer the person full-time.
Right.
But Stephen brought up a good point this morning. We're funding salaries and then we're funding appropriations for benefits. The benefits are amazing. They're outstanding. They really are.
Oh, yeah, they are.
And I say that because in my very own house, in my very own household, right now, I live it. It's like, I don't even need to go there. A $5,000 deductible on the health insurance. They make you pay the full $5,000. We found that out. Then we said, hey, we can get on with the county. It's going to cost X amount of dollars. So the employer gives that amount that they're paying, and then we have to pay taxes on it. So it knocks it down, the cost of taxation. Then we have to turn around and add to it just to get coverage. But the difference between $5,000 deductible and $250 is a world of difference. It's just a personal decision that everybody has to make. I think I'm hearing, Mike, the burr under the saddle is the fact that I am taking the annualized budgeted amount, I'm dividing it by 15 potential 100 hours, and it comes out over a 50-week period to $20 an hour. I'm not paying any more for the position. I'm saving a whole lot less, and for 16 minutes a day, I think it's a pretty good value for the taxpayer, especially if we can get everything done. And that's the challenge. This lady's not going to sit down there at the Veteran Service Officer for $10 an hour. I mean, she gets bored. I was talking to her and I said, hey, Would you be interested, or would you be willing to help us with the historical project? Y'all saw the fruit of that. That was something we didn't have to hire a full-time position for and pay for benefits, and I could go on and on. Hopefully, as a manager and as an administrator, I've been a good steward. I've been wise in figuring out how to be able to do these things for the greatest savings possible, with a skill set that it is equal to the office that it requires. We have attorneys now to call to ask, how do I file this probate? Because the confidence, they know it's going to be called if they're having any concern whatsoever. She was on the phone yesterday, back and forth with the attorneys, just trying to get these things ready so that I could come in and preside over the hearing and feel confident that the information is proved up. I don't know what to tell any of you other than our conversation has been restricted over the last year and a half like I've never known since I've been in county government. I used to be able to sit down and talk through things. I had a good conversation with Buck, and I've had one with you. I've had a little bit of a chat with Stephen. I've had a little bit of a chat with Martin. But tell me what I'm doing wrong. That's wrong in the eyes of the taxpayers, that's wrong in the eyes of the citizens, that's wrong in the eyes of stewardship. Tell me, I mean, seriously, I want to know.
We're a government entity, and we pay a position. And we're not a private sector that can pay more just because somebody is more skilled. We pay for a position, no matter if that person has a master's degree or a high school diploma. We pay the same amount, and we don't analyze all 130 employees individually and come up with a price that we're going to pay them by their skill set. And if we start using individuals to give $20 an hour, and somebody decides we're worth 50, but this guy's worth minimum wage, you know, and some of my guys, I'll pay them what they were worth, but federal law says I have to pay them minimum wage at least. So, I mean, we can't go to individual person, our employees, just by their skill set on what they get paid. We have to look at it as a position. This is what it pays. We want you to come to work for us, and you might be way overqualified and able to do the job easily, but this is what we pay.
That's true what you said, Stephen. However, it's not always been handled like that. We've got positions in the county that get paid different amounts of money because of their quote unquote skill set.
Should not be like that.
I can't argue with you, but it is like that right now, Tony.
Well, why don't we fix it?
Y'all got it.
What positions are those that you seem to know what's where it's happening?
There's a difference in the pay in the DA, the security office, the difference in pay in the auditor's office, the difference in pay in our offices. They're all over the place.
Is it based on an individual or a position?
I don't know what's based on.
But what the judge is saying is that this individual is worth the $20 an hour. She's probably worth more than that, but it's based on an individual, on that individual skill set. It's not the position. No matter who has the position, in those other positions, they'd be getting paid the same amount of money. It's not based on the person, it's based on the position.
Yeah, that's where it got started, I think, Stephen, in the DA's office, when they started giving extra stipend every year to their employees because of their skill set, according to JoJo back in the day. You know, they wasn't just normal office secretaries, whatever, they were more like legal secretaries, whether they had the qualifications as a legal secretary or not.
You could say the same thing about my office. Because every document, what was that, Martin?
That's exactly right, that's where it started.
Yeah, that's where it started. Of course, you know, everybody feels like their employees deserve the same thing that somebody else's employees are getting, if they're basically doing the same type of work.
This has been going on since I've been
The
here.
whole time, yep. Although
That's originally why they had that set in stone, we wouldn't end up to where we at right now.
right now, yep.
I took a $20,000 allocation and I did with it the most that I could. I just got lucky, I'll tell you all that again. I got a skill set, an efficiency and a proficiency that is beyond my capability. I mean, I'm telling you, I got lucky and I'm grateful. And I think that we have delivered some pretty darn good results with what we've done. It just almost seems as if I'm being punished as an administrator and as a supervisor and as an office holder because I'm saving money with these positions that we don't even have to expend the additional $9,050 because Kay doesn't want to be here any longer than she has to. She has a life. She and Joe both retired, as I said, 2 to 3 times more than what they're getting out. This is just a little supplement that they have a motivation to be able to deliver a product from your elected official's office.
I think what the taxpayers are seeing though is several years back, there was one secretary for the county judge. And now we have 3 people working in there for that one position. And I understand.
And Mike, we can go back to that, and I will tell you,
He delegated stuff out, I know, to get stuff done.
ask this lady right here what was dumped on her prior.
Oh, I know.
Ask this lady right here what she knew over the last 28 or so years. What I looked at, Mike, was what's my responsibility? What am I accountable for? And I made the choice to not put on somebody else something that I'm responsible for. But there's only so much of me, and there's only so much of that one full-time person. I mean, in the 13 and a half years that I've been here, Mike, this position is crazy different. I don't know that I would even be interested in pursuing it now. It wasn't anything like what I thought it was. And my conscience.
But I think the best way to be even across the board is have a policy on maximum amount of pay and a minimum amount of pay on whatever job that's going on. But we've got to be uniform across the county on how we're paying people, or it's gonna open it up for some discrimination. Looking at on, you're not paying me per hour because of one of the 7 things that you can discriminate against. Then how do you prove skill set? You know, that's a, you know, we can do the job better. We don't even do evaluations, and maybe we shouldn't, but it's a one person's opinion how good somebody is and what we're going to pay them. And that's probably not the best thing to have as a government.
Do any of you think that your foremans are better than any of the chief deputies' positions as far as responsibility and pay grade? Because that foreman basically supports your responsibilities in each of your precincts, just like that chief deputy does that official, be they elected or appointed, who the public has entrusted or the appointer has entrusted to these positions. I mean, if we're going to go there, let's compare that apple to this apple. It may be a different color.
But it's a position, so if we're paying a position and then we think that a part-time person is skill set's better than the foreman and we pay them more than the foreman or the chief deputy, then where are we at? But if you maximize the pay or limit the person being hired. So, well, I work more than that, well, that's the maximum we can pay. And they might be worth more than that. You know, but that's where we're at, you know, that's the limit. Our guys that are operating machines and the people that are working these offices, they could go other places and with their skills and make more money. But they understand what's getting paid, what they get paid here, and what the limit is.
That's kind of what I look at too, I mean, you know.
That was about the best statement I've heard yet, is how to look at it. Because everybody is capable of having a skill set. And I'm taking nothing away from these ladies. I know they do a phenomenal job. And I see where he's coming from. But,
But it's creating some.
and within the day we live in, with social media, and everything being so open, I see the argument.
I am more than glad to disclose to the world. I would invite anybody, come sit down in our office and just spend a week and see what we're doing and what we're not doing. See what we produce and what we don't produce. And then judge the fruit of our productivity based upon the number, the allocation, and the attempt to try to deliver it as efficiently and as effectively as possible. That's just a personal objective that I brought with me that I hope to try to integrate into the position that I've been entrusted with. I don't know how to do it any better than the way I did it, but the way I'm doing it is disdainful to others because they're looking at one part and not a whole. They're looking at just simply what I'm expensing out. For two people that have a capability to support this commissioner's court, we don't even have to be concerned or think about how much time it takes Jill to, because she's whipping stuff out. She works for all 5 of us, y'all. She may be assigned to me.
She does.
But she works for all 5 of us. She is the commissioner's court coordinator. You send it to her.
And she's worked more than what she's being paid. She's worked more than what she's being paid. And there's a lot of people out there being work more than what they're being paid. But we cannot pay on the individual skill set basis, which is determined by one person on what that skill set or what they should be paid.
Stephen,
It has to be a policy.
you're talking out of 2 sides of your mouth. You told me the very thing you told me was, if I wanted to pay that annualized position out in 1 hour, that I had the right to do that. Not that I'm going to do that.
Yes. Yes, you have the capability of doing that. You just have to answer for that. And that's what's happening now. You're answering for that, but nobody in the court seems to agree with your answer. You can do it because there's no policy restricting that. You can pay that person $20,000 an hour and they can work 1 hour a year for you. That's totally true. You can do that. Is that the right thing to do? Is that the way to run a government? No, it's not.
So is what I'm doing the right way to run a position as an elected official that's been entrusted to me in trying to fulfill all the responsibilities that I'm supposed to fill? I mean, let's look at a bottom line.
I think the employees should be treated the same on their pay. It shouldn't be up to one individual to think one person's skill set or quality of work is better than another one in a government operation.
Okay, so we're going to use one of the positions over in the DA's office as the standard, and that's what we're going to annualize for every position.
But it depends on whatever the court comes up with, is what we'll do. If you're required to have an attorney's license to have this position, then you're required to have an attorney's license, whatever that pay is. If somebody's coming in there working part-time, then this is the pay that you will get for that attorney's license required position. Same way with the deputy, you have to have a peace officer's license to work as a deputy. You know, and if a part-time deputy comes in with the skill set or the license that are able to do that, which is a standard skill set for them to obtain that license, then they get paid the same amount. Whatever the court said, whatever that is, under policy. an hour or minimum wage, whatever that is.
I think we're gonna agree to disagree. We're going to call what I do unacceptable. We are going to say that we don't like how you are choosing to pay an hourly rate to produce the product that you do. And that's just the way that I'm hearing that you're telling me, and I get it. And I'm telling you, it's totally okay with me. I can release all but one of those department positions, and that's emergency management. I still gotta be over it. Y'all can handle it the way you wanna do it. I would be delighted for that to be shared. We can shut the office down and begin to delegate the responsibilities out, and I'll walk through and I'm okay with that. I just thought that I was doing the right thing for the right reason at the right time with the right motivation. And I'm wrong. Not in my own heart. I believe I'm at peace. My conscience is clear. It's others that have
I
problems.
don't think it has to do anything with shutting down departments or anything. I think it has to do with coming up with a policy that will work for everyone, that the court agrees on, that's fair to all the employees. Not talking about shutting down offices or whatever, but it's just, we have to have a standard.
Well, that's like I was saying a few
Because
years
you can
ago.
pay $20,000 an hour.
We talked about it in the budget workshop and decided that $16 an hour was probably about the cap on part-time help, because it ended up putting a part-time person making more money than a full-time person if they work, whatever the hours was. I don't know at the time what we were looking at, but it was our full-time people. I mean, if you paid a part-time person $16 an hour more, they're making more than full-time without the benefits. We talked
Yeah,
about-
and that would have to be going in the policy, I would think, to start to be followed.
It should have been, but I don't think we ever did put it in the policy.
Yeah, so I mean, that's probably gonna be a policy deal going to court, we need to talk about it in court under an agenda item for the adding or amending the policy, in the policy manual. I don't think you can do it in budget, on the budget side, it's gonna be a policy side.
Do you want to say something? You raise your hand.
Yeah, I wanted to tell John, you value them and they do impeccable work. They are wonderful people. But you're saying we can't value ours, is what you're saying.
Is that what I said?
That's the way it feels. You were talking about their skill set and how much they did. If anybody needs to be paid the most in this county for their skill set, it's that lady sitting right there.
Let's do it.
Because I know what she does. I know what she's responsible for.
Let's do it.
But that's what I'm saying. I value my people. You might not like them. You may not think they do a damn thing. But I know what they do. Why can't we value our people like you value yours?
Why are you even asking me that?
Because you asked, is anybody else getting a raise? When I said that I was going, you said that.
I did, and it's because I asked Judge Walker, is there gonna be any raises? And she said, yes. She said, I'll talk to Jackie. Jackie, the text message back to me was she wants to give
But
them,
that hasn't been,
660.
that has not been finalized.
but it's
won't
going
be.
tomorrow.
But I don't know that. I
Well,
don't
she
know
said
that.
she didn't have a problem with it. She was
But
fine
until
with
it's
it.
done and I have judges' signatures on it, I can't say that it's gonna happen. I don't know that. But I'm just saying, you value them, why can't we value our people?
This is where it all leads to, you go pay a different money. I mean, it just, there's never gonna be peace, ever. Then everybody's gonna keep bumping theirs up, and then, you're gonna be.
Mike, am I going beyond? As a matter of fact, I'm going below what we budgeted the position for.
What if you have to have a full-time person? What if somebody won't come to work part-time?
Fortunately, it's budgeted. We've got the full $30,600
So-
budgeted.
So what are we saving? I mean, you're not spending it, but we're budgeting it for it anyway.
I understand that, Mike. And it's just like Leanne, she's asking for the $9,050, both she and Pammy, $18,100 to be spent on permanent part-time positions for her office, simply because they're not expressing. What if she leaves and goes to another place? We're gonna have to have that $9,050 back. What if Pammy moves and goes somewhere else and does something else?
Exactly.
The next person that replaces them, we budget for salary, then we allocate for benefit. If I'm telling you, hey, we're making an allocation, we don't spend that $9,000, it goes back into the carryover. We can spend it on something else. I'm just saying that apparently I don't know how to
Well, I think
calculate.
we're all going in different directions. I don't think nobody's trying to work together. I mean, like Stephen said, in the same way I feel about it, you can't treat employees different and say one's got this skill set, let's pay them more money. I mean, that'd be ideal if we could do that, but I don't think the county has.
Mike, I maintain a funeral director's license. Before I got that license, I was at a much less pay scale. By virtue of the fact that I carry that license, I can go and I can market that license out there, just like your drivers that have CDLs. You're gonna pay them more because they've got that another guy who doesn't have that, you're not gonna pay him for a CDL because he can't operate things. I'm just telling you, I just happened to get lucky a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, in a conversation with Jill, when I realized, hey, I was losing this position, would you mind coming on? Then her proficiency over this 5 years, she's getting the work done 25% faster than she was when she originally started. So what she's doing is, hey, I'm out of here. Listen, I'll come as long as I have to, but no longer than I need to. Because she doesn't have to stay here for her benefits.
But you know, what's really, I guess, the clinker on this, I'm just sitting here listening, I don't know how to really jump in, but it sounds to me like it won't be long and you won't have either one of them either. I mean, they're probably gonna retire permanently, so.
They might leave today after all this.
After all this, that's true.
And I wouldn't blame.
And I hope Kay's not sitting there thinking nobody likes her, because she's not there at all. I think she's wonderful, but, you know, it's one of them things, it's gonna move on pretty soon anyway, so you're gonna be back to square one, so, I mean,
Buck, I've made those adjustments on everything that I've had to do with all of the different personnel and approaching it totally different with each trying to put together the appropriate design or packaging to meet the needs. It's just like with Ken. Ken was in a full-time position as emergency management coordinator. When he ran for office and got that, I told him, I said, Ken, you understand you can't make more than a commissioner. And with your JP and with your full-time, that's gonna put you over. He said, hey, Judge, I don't work for money. If you figure it out, and I did, I figured it out to be $1,000 total less. He gets his benefits off of his JP, his elected side. He gets he forfeits the vehicle allowance that he gets on the JP side. So he's always both. He's always emergency management coordinator. He's always the JP. I said, let's consolidate this into one vehicle and you can use it because you're never not the JP and you're always, he forfeits the vehicle allowance because he gets it, he understands. He says, hey, you know, I don't want to have to run to my house, get in my JP truck, go on an inquest, and consequently, it just seems like it's good stewardship. It seems like that we're doing a good thing.
Can I ask a question? I realize I caused you heartburn and I do sincerely apologize for that. But at what point is it all right for any staff? You said it was inappropriate for Ken to make more than a commissioner. Why is it appropriate for your staff to make more than an elected official period? And I will say, that during the summer, we paid your staff some overtime.
We pay what?
We paid your staff overtime,
My staff. Which staff members?
your ladies,
I'm sorry.
your ladies.
Did you get paid overtime, Kate?
During all that COVID stuff, I was here a lot of hours.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
So are we liable to pay her overtime for that COVID-related overtime?
We paid her, I have no problem paying her. I have a problem with the fact that you make $30 an hour, and I make $22.83, and I paid to be here. I have a problem with that. That's not fair.
Okay. I don't know what to tell y'all. Obviously, everything that we've discussed has been building up over time. I'm shocked that you are, because if I
I'm
count,
shocked that I'm heartburned, I was gonna tell you right now.
I'm shocked that you're at 22, whatever it was that you said, because
22.83,
2283, based upon what?
based on my annual salary, 47.5, 47,
It's 47,500, 4702.
divided by 20,
28, and it gives you
2283.
2285.
But you're not here 20 days.
I'm on call 24 hours. Am I-
We all are.
Okay, but,
But our offices are not open. Our offices.
so, okay, now we got a whole nother set of standards for an official. So,
We're not getting anywhere. All we are is in anger right now, and I need to take a break. And I'm gonna step out for a bit.
When are we coming back?
Well, I just can we just adjourn it and go home?
well, can we get my people, I'm begging for people on my side, can we go ahead and establish that I'm gonna get somebody, or maybe I'm not gonna get somebody, but so I can move forward. I've already heard all this mess, this is all mess, I've heard it, I've heard everybody that's heard it. It's just time to
Over
move
and
on.
over again.
It's time to move on, either we're gonna help people out, we're gonna get them benefits, or we're not.
Look, we'll come back tomorrow.
I mean, we gotta finish this.
I think we're at an impasse.
Martin, you still here? Martin, you still with us?
I'm here.
And the judge has left, so I think you might need to step in and take over
We've gotta finish the budget, y'all.
yeah, the judge has walked out, Martin.
So if you wanna
I don't know
leave it the same or do whatever we need to decide.
I don't have the paperwork I need to do it. What time is it?
It is.
3:55.
I think he's done for the day. I really don't think he needs to.
He's not gonna come back. But we can't just stop because of that. We have got to establish what the tax rate's gonna be and what we're gonna do with our budget.
I'm sorry, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yes,
now.
sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Hey,
I can hear you, Martin.
okay,
can you hear me, Martin?
I can.
Okay.
I just think.
Okay.
I mean, none of this is directed at you.
Please don't take it personally.
No, no.
'Cause I mean,
You are a wonderful asset. I respect you.
You are.
I'm back. It's not personal to you.
I know, I completely understand. So just
And
keep on.
I really think,
Be one way before you.
I just think the whole thing is personal. We just,
I couldn't get my.
I think, within light of all that's happened, I think that's the personal part of it.
Okay, so we're at county treasurer, are we gonna,
We can still keep going through it. I gotta go to the restroom though. I hate to tell y'all that in public.
Hey, why don't we adjourn for 15 minutes?
Just take
It
a
might be
recess,
recess, you don't.
recess
Let's take a recess.
till 3:30.
So 3:30?
Yeah,
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I got a motion, yes, I'll make it.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. We adjourn to 3:30.
Thank you, sir.
Make sure that the, communications is still out running.
Yes,
Okay, we will.
yeah, it'll stay up.
We're gonna shut her down right now. We'll get back online at 3:30. I don't know nothing about that thing. I guess.
Yeah.
No longer being